Welcome back to my dungeon, for lack of a better word. Chapter 3. What is the conflict about? Have you ever, and I'm sure you have because all of us have, gotten into an argument and didn't really know what it was about? Well, that's the object here between goals and you have to have an idea of what you're really arguing about. And we'll get into how a lot of times it's intermixed. But in another class, when I was a student many years ago, one of the professors gave us an acronym, WIIFM, WIFM. And what it stands for, basically when they told me this, it was like when I was learning to teach. And they said the students will sit back there and think WIFM. What's in it for me? What am I going to get out of this? And it's the same with conflict. What's in it for me? If you don't have a goal in mind, then you don't really know what you're after. I mean, if you're taking a class to learn about conflict resolution, what's in it for you is learning about conflict resolution. If you're going to a ball game because you enjoy watching sports, the entertainment is what's in it for you. If you're watching a TV show, the entertainment's what's in it for you. So, what's in it for me? And not only are you thinking that, but whoever you are having a conflict with is thinking about the same thing. What am I going to get out of this? Well, hopefully you have an idea when you get into the conflict. But sometimes it's difficult to determine really what the conflict is about, especially in intimate relationships. Because you're together all the time and you leave the tube off the toothpaste, or you squeeze it from the middle, or you put the toilet paper roll in the wrong way, or you leave your clothes, or you don't do your dishes, or whatever. And it all adds up. And all this stuff adding up sometimes causes a conflict, and sometimes it's difficult to determine what actually is the conflict about. And the thing about it, the more intense you get, the worse it makes it. We have all said something out of anger that we didn't mean. And that doesn't help matters any at all. If you think about it, when you are in a conflict with somebody and they say something that really makes you mad, it didn't help your position or theirs. If you say something out of anger that makes them mad, it's not going to help your position. It's much harder now to get back to focusing on the goal and resolving the conflict because now you've added another layer in there. Goals change. Sometimes we start out, our goal is because I want a better relationship. But it turns out that maybe after all this arguing, you figure out, I want to end this relationship. So the book talks about different types of goals, and it has an acronym, TRIP. Topic, relationship, identity, phase, work, and process. They identify these 4 different types of generalizations that cover most conflicts. So let's talk about those. What about topic? Topic, what is the goal? You're having this conflict with somebody because you want a loan or you want a car, and your budget says you can pay this much for a car, and the salesman's percentage check is dependent upon how much more he can sell it for. I have gone to get cars many times, and generally when I go in, I have, this is how much money I can pay. And I have walked away from a car that I loved many times. Of course, this is back before when I could drive, right? But I walked away from cars that I really loved because I took it for a test drive, and the salesman said, "Oh, you look good in this car. This is you," you know, buttering you up, giving you all the compliments, and making it sound like you can't do without it. But my goal is not to exceed my budget. And I have seen many people, and I've done it myself, that ended up getting more car than they could afford because they lost sight of their goal. So it could be topic, could be a vacation. Where do you want to go on vacation? I love the beach. My wife hates it. So where are you going to go on vacation? Maybe your topic is you want meaningful work. I just don't want busy work. I want to see that I'm doing something. That's why I love doing work around the house. My grandson's in the finished his basement. What I love most about it is I could see the results. I've written articles and written chapters in a book and things like that. And it's okay. I mean, it was work. It got done. But I didn't get the satisfaction because the goal of writing that chapter wasn't as much in my heart, shall we say, as the goal of finishing this office. So you want something meaningful. So there's different contexts in different topics. For example, work could be promotion or salary. What do you want to make? What do you want position you want to have? Do you need a new computer? Maybe your goal is to go to the boss and say, I could do this a lot better if I had a decent computer. And maybe the boss's goal is, we've been spending too much money on technology and they don't want him to spend money. Friendship, travel plans. Goes back to I was talking about a vacation. Where do you want to go on vacation? How do you want to get there? Have you ever ridden a train? I love traveling by train in Europe. Haven't done it in the States yet, but I'm planning on it. It's much nicer than flying, or you get on the train, you get a cafe car, you go sit down, get a cup of coffee or a beer, and you watch. I like to watch people, so my wife hates it because she can't smoke on a train. She don't want to fly. So we have those conflicts. What do you want to share? Do you want to share a hotel room with a friend, or do you want to have your own room? Do you want to get two completely different meals and share them so you both get a taste of it? Intimate relationships, time together. This is one that it's really pressing on often on relationships, because some people are more, quote, needy and they want this time together, and other people are more autonomous and they want time alone. So you have to balance that out. How much time is the right time? When and how to have sex. That's an example in the book. If you are in a relationship, I've known many young men, especially when I was young. I'm getting married. Why? I get laid every day. No, it don't happen that way. They have this different perception. You have to figure all this stuff out when you're in a relationship. What are we going to buy? We have so much money in our budget, and I want to do both, and she wants a big screen TV. Well, the boat costs more than big screen TV, and I can't take the boat anywhere unless she drives the truck, so we're probably going to get the TV. Sometimes it works out that way. Other times it's, I want a new gun, or I want a new fishing rod, or I want a new kitchen table. So, what are you going to buy in an intimate relationship? Because, cheating does not cause most divorces. Money does. Relational goals. Now, those are top, this item. Now, relational goals are different. Even though the topic items talked about intimate relationships, relational goals are often or usually at the heart of the conflict. It may be we're fighting over an oval or a rectangle table, but that topic is driven by something else. And sometimes it's not always easy to see because we each have our own perspective. And we talked about that last chapter, especially in cultural differences. What's important to you in a relationship may not be as important to somebody else. If you grew up impoverished and what's important to you is financial security, you have a completely different perspective than somebody that grew up in wealth and money was no object. So what's the perspective of each of you? You each have different interpretations on what is proper child discipline methods. You have different interpretations over what's a good TV show. My wife loves the judge shows and the criminal shows, CSI and things like that. I think she's trying to figure out a way to kill me and get away with it. I may have told you that joke, and if I have, I apologize. But I like shows like more comedy shows. And, I love watching Big Bang Theory. And my wife said, "Why do you watch that? It's stupid." It's like, yeah, but I work with those people. I understand this. Sometimes she'll watch Big Bang Theory with me, and sometimes I'll watch CSI with her. And, we have our own interpretations on what's good and what's bad. And we have our own interpretations when we communicate. What you said and what I heard, or what I said, what you heard. How many times have you said something and whoever you were in a relationship with got all upset because they heard it completely different than you meant it? And to me, that's one of the problems with texting, because you don't have the nuances that the conversation has. I've many times electronic texting and email. I have one person, they thought that I was a stuffy old butthole of a sergeant in military, because my emails and things like that are short to the point. And some of you got emails from me, it was just a yes or no answer. But once they got to know me, they said, you're not anything like I thought you would have been. Because they had this perspective. They interpreted who I was by my writing style. But what I said is so-and-so. No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Have you had those conversations? And what I think you think. Sometimes people think that I'm a pretentious ass. I'm hard. I'm unfeeling. Like a friend of mine with the emails. Once she got to know me, it was like, wow, you're nothing like what I thought you were. And conflicts spiral. The thing about a conflict, especially when emotions get involved, it starts spiraling out of control. Because you get upset, and then they get upset, and then you get more upset, and then they get more upset, and it just spirals out of control often before you know it. And some people want to handle that by leaving the room. Other people, it's like, no, you're not leaving in the middle of an argument. And it causes more. Identity face work. What does that mean? Identity. Who are you? Well, I'm a father, a grandfather, a soldier, or a teacher, a philanthropist, a Rotarian, a blind veteran. I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I'm all kinds of things. That's my identity. And each one I hold in a special way. But oftentimes, saving face is more important than winning the argument. I have been in discussions and disagreements and arguments with people, and I wasn't going to change my mind because I didn't want to seem like I was weak. I didn't want to admit I was wrong. And a lot of times it's hard actually to identify what's going on. If somebody is because sometimes they don't even want to deal with this. So who am I? So when you get into a conflict, you have to ask yourself, who are you? And when you do that and you set up these parameters of this is who I am, it's oftentimes hard to change it when something new comes to light. How can I protect my identity? I don't want to lose face. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to look weak. I mean, it sounds like a lot of politicians we have. How can you protect your identity? By getting more and more firm or backing off? And how can you help protect somebody else's identity? You know, I realize that you may not have known the backstory, and that may be why you feel this way. Oh yeah, I didn't know that. So it helps that person save face. If you are trying to promote self-preservation, you become less and less flexible. You become more solid and steadfast because you want to preserve your identity. I have 3 children, and I have had to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong more than once to my children. That's a difficult thing to do at times. Have you ever heard after somebody winning a court case, okay, you got awarded $150,000. I want an apology. That's the face part of it. You know, yeah, okay, I hurt you in the pocket. I got this money, but I still feel like I was wrong. I want an apology. And many times, corporations will settle out of court for an undetermined amount, but admit no wrong because they want to save their face too. They don't want to say, yeah, I was wrong. So they don't want to do that. And sometimes people suppress conflict to save face. So I said this, I'm standing by that, and somebody wants to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to have this conversation with you. Because, you know I'm wrong at this point in time, but I don't know how to save my face, so I'm just going to suppress the conflict. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be at the meeting. The process, last one of the 4, the process is formal or informal. You know, how is this going to happen? Is everybody going to get equal time? Is it going to be done by consensus? Which means that this is what we're going to do. Anybody got any objections? None heard? Okay, we're going to do it. Is it going to be one person decides? Well, if one person decides, there's going to be somebody upset. But sometimes that's how it goes. I've heard of guys my generation and older saying, I'm the man of the house and I make the decision. What I say goes. Okay. You know, how's your wife feel about that? Doesn't matter. Okay. You know, wife might have had a few things to say to him afterwards. But a lot of times it's not present in the situation. And I don't know if I'm going to cover this later or now, but it comes to mind now, so I'll talk about it now. When you are in a disagreement with somebody, something I learned from the military. was praise in public and admonish in private. Nobody wants to get their butt chewed in front of a bunch of other people. So I learned from some great leaders that if they had something to say to me, we were alone in their office and they told me exactly how they felt. If they thought I had done good, they would say it in front of everybody. So nobody want. I mean, it adds to the conflict if you admonish people in public. Voting. Are we going to vote on this? Well, if there's two people in a marital relationship and they each have a vote, sometimes you don't get anywhere voting. The trip topics, they overlap, overlapping nature. Oftentimes, the topic is controlled by the relationship or the identity. Sometimes the relational could control the topic or the identity. And the process is influenced by relationship and identity. And relational identity often propel or intensify a topic or process. And that's what I was saying in the very beginning. Sometimes it's not really about what you think it is. Our topic is Vern's messy. But the relationship thing of it may not be that Vern's messy. It may be that Vern makes his wife feel inadequate or inferior. And that relational conflict is driving the force. Often, other trip goals are hidden. Sometimes it may be topic that you're talking about, and relational goal is hidden and driving it. Sometimes it might be process and identity is hidden. So it's not something you can say, well, this is the problem. A lot of times the problem is multi-layered and multifaceted. And a lot of times you have to look deep to find the problem that's driving this whole thing. And other times you just have to realize that in this particular instance, somebody feels inferior, whether it be a subordinate at work or a spouse or a significant other or a friend. And that inferiority, that relational thing is causing this big topical or process thing to blow out of proportion. Goals are not stagnant. You know, we set our goal to get a new job. Well, you might reach that goal, then you have to find out a new goal. But maybe in the process of getting that new job, you realize that, you know, what I had, what I have now, because hopefully you don't quit before you have a new job. What I have now is actually pretty good. You know, I think that I should get paid more, right? I think I deserve more benefits. So you go out looking. And when you're out looking, you find out that you get paid above average for your field and your qualifications, and you have better benefits. Well, maybe you didn't realize that. Transactive goals often are goals that appear after the conflict starts. You know, maybe it's Vern's messy. But once the conflict starts, Vern figures out that he's just not being a good person. Sometimes when the conflict starts and things digress, we end up getting negative goals. I'm going to make him pay for this. Those are never good. So instead of trying to get what you wanted, now you're trying to make somebody pay for it. Pay for telling you no, pay for being in your way, pay for whatever. Retrospective goals are only found after the conflict. Now think about this. A lot of times we have a conflict, we resolve the conflict, and then we go on about our business. Well, when I was in the Army, we had something called AARs, after action reports. Every time we did a mission, we pulled back and we went through everything that happened. The good, the bad, and the ugly. What we did we do right? What did we do wrong? How can we improve? How can we avoid this failure again? And retrospective goals, after you've had the conflict, instead of saying, okay, it's over, let's forget about it, sit back and go over the conflict. Go start with the goals that you had. This is where we went. This is what happened. And now, oh, wow, wait a minute. It wasn't that, we're good now, but it wasn't that Vern's messy was the problem. Vern was being disrespectful. But Vern couldn't have figured that out maybe if he hadn't have gone through the process and retrospectively looked at it, or as like I said in the Army, we called it an AAR, after action report. Goal clarity. What does it mean by goal clarity? I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's a simple statement. You want your goals to be clear. It's not I want a new job. I want a new job where I have better hours and make better money. I want a job where I can travel because I'd love to travel. You want it clear, but you have to remember that you can't find what you're not looking for. If you don't know what you are looking for, you can't find it. If I tell you to get in your car and go to Tai, Georgia, unless you know where to go, how to get there, you can't get there. And you need to understand what your goal is. And you need to understand the goal of the others. My goal is that I want to be financially independent by such and such date. My wife's goal is she wants to have a nice house to live in and share the experience with our family. My goal is I'm a workaholic. My wife's goal is she wants family time. So I better quit working and get up there and be with family. But unless you know what your goal is and what the other's goal is, you can't work through the process. What comes along with understanding their goals is something called estimating. Can you read minds? Oftentimes my wife can read my mind because she said there's only a few things I think about. But if we were in an argument, she can't read my mind. And I can't read her mind. And many of the arguments is like, what'd I do? You know what you did. No, I don't know what I did. Yeah, you do. No, I really don't have a clue. But yes, you do. And you did it. And I told you I didn't like it. But you did it anyway. No, I don't know. So the more confident you are, often is the more wrong you are. If you think you know what somebody's goal is, and you think you know them, and I know this person so well, this is it. A lot of times you're blinded by your own perception. Because, we don't see the world the same as somebody else does. I take off with my cane and I go places and my wife, watch out, watch out, watch out. It's like, I know what I'm doing. I learned how to use a cane. I learned how to walk. But she's real protective of me. She's afraid that I'm going to get run over by a car or run into somebody. And occasionally I bump into people. I hadn't got run over by a car yet. But, I'm cautious when I'm out in public with my cane. I don't walk as fast as I do when nobody's around. And I take my time. And if I bump somebody with my cane, I say, excuse me, pardon me, sorry about that. So I do my best, but sometimes she thinks that I'm not in control of my surroundings because I can't see. And that's okay. At first, it bugs the hell out of me. But I know that she's that way because she worries about me. So I had to get over that part of the conflict. Okay, instead of shut up, leave me alone, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I did that. Okay, thanks. Okay, okay. I understand now her goal is to keep me safe, and my goal is to be independent. So it's something we both have to work on. Collaborative goals. They are the easiest to attain. If you and whoever you have a conflict with have the same goal, it's much easier to get there. But it has to be specific. If you listen to the two political parties, Republicans and Democrats, both of them goal is to make a better, stronger U.S. Each of them have their own idea of what that is, and it doesn't include the other one. So they have a collaborative goal, but what overall goal? But their short term, medium term, and long term goals are different because this is how they want to get there. Behavior specific. Have you ever said, I'm sorry, I'll never do that again? I didn't mean to do that. I apologize. That's great. Okay, you've seen a problem and it's upset them and you're going to fix it. Well, you can't fix it by talking about yesterday. Okay, I know I screwed up 2 months ago. I know I did this then. I'm not going to do it again. I'm working on it. But you have to be behavior specific. This is what I'm doing to fix that. And are you going to fall off the wagon every now and then? I'm sure you will. We all do. It takes a while to create new methods, new habits. But as long as you're specific about this is what I need to do, then you should be able to do that. And whoever you're having a conflict with should be okay with it. But sometimes they're not. Recognize interdependence. We need one another, or we wouldn't be having a conflict. We are intertwined. I can't go anywhere unless somebody drives me. Usually it's my wife. So I need her to get to my destination. But when I get there, she realizes that I need my independence when I get there. Every week she drives me from our house in Marion County to Columbus, and I go to a Rotary meeting. It's about an hour and a half. We have a nice meal. We listen to a speaker. I really like it. My wife doesn't. She's gone once with me. Let's come to Rotary. Nope. She'll drive me there. We'll stop at McDonald's or Burger King and get her something. She'll sit out in the truck and lay on her phone and wait for me to come out. Could I get there without her? No. Would it be great if she went in with me? Yeah. But I recognize I need her to get there. She recognizes she needs me for, kill bugs, reach stuff off the top shelf, whatever. Actually, my wife has dementia. So until we got OnStar, she needed me to get home. Now she don't even need that. But we have to recognize that if we weren't interdependent, we wouldn't be having conflict. Be aware of the process. I had a professor when I was taking a college, a career in a degree in counseling. He said, trust the process. He always said, trust the process. And you have to be aware of the process. If you are not aware of what needs to happen to successfully navigate a conflict, then you won't get there. You have to be aware of the process and you have to trust the process. Are your feelings going to get hurt? Yeah, sometimes. Are theirs going to get hurt? Unfortunately, sometimes. But the objective is to focus on the goals, figure out if it's topic or relational or face saving or the process that's causing the problem. Figure out which one of those other areas are influencing the problem. And by doing so, you'll have a good chance to work this out. Some conflicts are much more difficult, entwined, mismatched, and tied up than others. You know, sometimes it's very simple. Where do you want to go eat? I don't care. Let's go get pizza. I don't want pizza. Let's go have Italian. I don't want Italian. I told you I don't want pizza, but I got other Italian. Nope, I don't want. Okay. Let's go get fish. I don't want fish. I thought you said you didn't care. I don't. Okay. Something's going on. Either the first person is really hungry and wants these things, and the second person isn't really hungry and normally it doesn't care, but when they mention something, it just doesn't sound good to them. So could that be handled differently? Yeah, it could. Where do you want to eat? Nothing. Instead of I don't care, it's, nothing really sounds good, but give me some options, and I'll tell you how I feel about it. Okay, well, let's go get pizza. Well, we had pizza last night, so I'm really not interested in pizza or other Italian food. How about we go get so and so? Well, I don't want that. How about we go get fish? Well, fish is okay, but last time we had fish, it was real greasy and I didn't like it. See how it works out better? All right, chapter 3. I ran my mouth long enough. Let me know if you have any problems or questions. Read this over, watch the video, read this over, respond to the statement, the discussion statement I make, and respond to your peers. Have a great week. Email me if you need me. Bye.